Hello, YouTube. Just setting up on Facebook. Everything's unadjusted. Because my daughter and I do podcasts, so we use all the tripods and everything's all wonky. Having a hard time setting it all up. Okay, so I'm going to be going live on Facebook. So I'm on Facebook and YouTube. Okay, I'm organized. All right. Okay, I'm just waiting for everyone to turn up. Okay, no one's here yet. Oh, people are starting to come in now. While we're waiting for people to turn up, I'd love to know where you're from. I'm here in Vancouver, Canada. It's supposed to rain and it's sunny. And in Vancouver, when it says it's going to rain, it always rains. In Vancouver, when it says it's going to be sunny, it often rains. So I can't believe it's not raining yet. So anyway, it rains a lot here. Vancouver is a rainforest, so that's why it rains so much. Hello, Don. How are you? Arizona? Excellent. Arizona. Never been there. Northeast Tennessee. Welcome. That's Tarina on YouTube. I don't do lives as often. I did them every day for almost 2 years and maybe a year and a half. Anyway, I just don't have the time for that as much. UK, I'm raining here too. It's not raining here yet, but it probably will be soon. I think we have similar weather. I'm in Vancouver, Canada. West Kelowna. I don't know Kelowna. I don't know Kelowna well enough to know what west and east and all that is. I used to go to Penticton for was it called Peach Fest or something back in the 70s. We used to drive up there in my little Volkswagen. Little Beetle. Okay. Okay, we got enough people. Let's just get going. Connecticut, beautiful autumn day. Yeah, it's kind of like that here too. Welcome, Faith. Oh, the hurricane ruined so much of Tennessee, just 45 minutes away. Yeah, we don't live in hurricane country here, but I've certainly seen enough of that on the news lately. Wales, welcome. Michelle from Wales. Okay, so let's get going. My name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go on the link above, you can see my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp courses. I have 2 of those now, one for toddlers, one for older kids. Well, they're for you, but parents of older kids and toddlers. Or you can look into coaching. I have a wait list, but it's pretty good now. I've got about a week turnaround, maybe even quicker depending on the age. So anyway, and what else? Oh yeah, we've got a podcast now. It's all on the link above. It's all on my website. And my daughter and I do the podcast together. So it's been a lot of fun. She's my business partner. So, okay, Croatia. Hello, Croatia. Well, Sonia. Is it Sanya? Sorry if I said it wrong. Hello from the UK. Zara Louise. Oregon. Welcome. Okay. What else was I going to say? I think that was it. Okay, so I'm just waiting for your parenting questions. In the meantime, I'll just yabber on about stuff. Oh, I see. Okay. Sorry, my daughter gives me some notes. She's always correcting me on everything. I'm just reading what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay, just turned 2. Only child, goes to daycare twice a week for socialization. She will pull hair or hit unprovoked. Nothing. Oh, sorry, someone's out in the hallway making noise. Nothing in her home. She is mimicking, and it's happened a few times, and we're at a loss. She does understand not to hit, and she says not nice. Oh, they don't. Understanding has nothing to do with it. Like they understand what not to do. It has nothing to do with them doing it or not. Okay, it's all about impulse control. So, and they learn that through consequences. But when they're under the age of 3, their consequence is in the moment, consistent corrective actions. There's nothing you can do once she's at daycare. Like what I mean is if you're not right there in the moment, she's only 2. She can't possibly understand later on. Oh, you don't do that. You can't reason with a 2-year-old. So yeah, we all learn through consequences, but with under the age of 3, it has to be right in the moment. So can't help you much with that. That's usually the daycare. Oh, something's going on up in the hallway. Sounds like a ladder. I don't know what they're doing. Anyway. Okay. You hear that? I have no idea what that is. Okay, I won't worry about it. South Africa, welcome, Fiona. Maryland, hi, Shelley. Oh, don't forget to look into the website because we've got our podcast now. You can listen to it directly on the website. It's also on Apple and Spotify and on YouTube. I'm just going to look at it here. Yeah, we've got a new, every Tuesday, a new episode comes out. So right now we have 3 episodes that you can listen to. And then it also has a button to submit your questions because we're feeding off your questions on that podcast. That's what we're doing, right? So we're answering your questions. My daughter's asking me the questions and I'm answering them. So we got 2 cameras going. I said, can't we just use one camera and be side by side? She goes, Mom, it doesn't look good when you're sitting like this talking to someone. What do I know? Okay. Okay, so the daycare provider asked you to work on that at home. Yeah, sorry, I don't know what to do. I honestly don't know what to do because they don't remember. By the time whatever's triggering them to do that at daycare, the only thing that you could do is you could potentially say, can I stay at daycare for a while and see if she does it? And then you can deal with it there. So if she does hit, then you say no, and you instantly remove her from the fun or some fun from her and just hold on to her, like to keep her away from the fun. You don't do timeout. Timeout is when you send them off alone. You're with them. So you remove her from the fun or the fun from her. That's all I can think of. I wouldn't have a clue what to do otherwise. Okay. BratBusters on YouTube. Hello, you're a regular. So I still don't know what your name is. You've probably told me, but I can't remember. Okay, when my son 2.5 is on YouTube. When my son 2.5 is having a tantrum and is hitting, I don't correct the hitting, just keep ignoring the tantrum. Yeah, you just physically restrain them and stop them from the hitting. So you're just holding them, but you're still ignoring. You're still ignoring. It's like that silence is golden. Have you ever said something really stupid and then you just get ignored? Like, can you remember as a kid just get ignored? It's kind of unsettling being ignored. It tends to stop that, whatever you just said that was ridiculous. Like I said, if you say something ridiculous or snotty and someone just ignores you, it's kind of awkward, isn't it? So that's what we're going for here. They're going to keep getting worse before they get better though, because they remember the old you. Okay, what do you do when you have the behavior board and they have screen time taken off for 24 hours and they continue? I won't bother pushing the see more button because basically, so let's say that they have 24-hour media blackout because they wouldn't do the first consequence and their rule is no hitting. The behavior board's completely free. It's in the link above. Anyway, so what this parent is, this is Katie. What she's asking is, what do we do if they keep hitting during the 24-hour media blackout? We've got nothing else to do. I would say that's why you've got 24-hour media blackout. It's a really nasty 24 hours, but they're much less, the chances are they're going to stop doing it. So you see, but you got to go through these rough times. Everyone's trying to avoid the storm. The storms are the lessons. These rough times, the rough 24 hours when they continue to hit. I would only say that maybe once or twice. Well, that's why you've got 24-hour media blackout, because you were hitting. You see, and then I don't go on about it and don't sound mad. If you sound mad, you're not a leader. You just go, well, that's why you've got 24-hour media blackout. It's your choice. I just talk like that. So kids are like, and they'll fight you back, but just keep it up, keep going. I would say the hardest thing in coaching is getting past the parents' emotions. It's like anything. You may know what to do, but doing it is hard because their emotions get in the way. And I really can't help them through that other than just reassure them that they're not alone. Lots of parents struggle with that. And it takes time. Some parents learn quicker because they're not dealing with as much with their children. Okay, so they can do it quicker and then they get results. You get results pretty quick once you get good at this. But yeah, it's the parents' emotions that are my biggest challenge. It's not my biggest challenge because I do crisis work. So, but it's the most consistent thing I come up against in coaching is the parents' emotions. Getting in the way of them following through. And it's like, it's so stupid, but we all have stuff that we have blocks, that would get in the way. I have a phobia of accountants and taxes. I would genuinely call, you said I just broke out in a sweat. I would genuinely call it a phobia. Have I ever been in trouble? Have I ever not done my tax? No, I've never been in trouble. I don't know where it comes from. I've just always had this phobia. I don't know where I've tried to source it. Like, where did I get this from? But I mean, I do what I've got to do, but I always get, just always get really stressed out. So it's very hard for me to just say, okay, I'm just going to do it. It always stresses me out. but I have to push through because you got to pay the government, right? So I always push through. But it's kind of like that. I get it. I get what you're going through. I've got my own struggles. But yeah, the government isn't coming after you if you don't follow through with this leadership stuff, but they'll come after me if I don't follow through with my accounting stuff. So. Okay. Okay, currently doing the Potty Party course, and it's working like a charm. Thanks for that, letting me know. It's Megan Scott on Facebook. Anyway, the Potty Party course is, I trained my son in 1 day and my daughter in 2 days with that. I was already a leader though, so they were more inclined to follow along with what I was doing. But it's also a good way to exercise your leadership skills if you're not a leader. So, but yeah, and I suggest 2.5. Sometimes parents will email me, it just didn't work, it didn't work. Sometimes there's just some little thing they're doing wrong, or I don't know. That would be coaching. If they send me an email and they say it didn't work at all, it was a total disaster, and I don't answer parenting questions on email. But if you've bought a course and you say the course didn't work, I'm going to look at it. I'm like, I take a lot of pride in my work, right, in my courses. So, but usually it's just some little thing that they're doing wrong. The parents, like one of them was getting their kids to clean up the mess. You don't do that. And it says in the course, don't do that. But just often it's some little thing. But if you follow it through, you're pretty likely to get success with it. It's a pretty successful method. So yeah, I'm just thrilled when I hear people are going well. I don't tend to hear as much from the people who are doing well. I'd say maybe once a month, I'll hear from someone who's struggling, maybe less than that actually. But yeah, and there's usually just some little thing. Okay, you're not going to like my answer. It's Carrie B. Simpson. Any tips on how to get a 2-year-old off baby bottle? He will not go to sleep unless he has his baby bottle with milk. Yeah, he will. He'll eventually fall asleep. He's not going to stay awake for 3 or 4 weeks. He will eventually fall asleep. It's just going to be ugly getting him to sleep. Okay, so yeah, I would just pull the Band-Aid off and just say, no, you're a big boy. You don't need that. And I would buy him a new sippy cup and say, you can have this tonight, have a little sip of this or whatever. So yeah, I would buy him something to replace the baby bottles with, have him bag up all the bottles and throw them in the garbage with him. Or if you need them for future kids, pretend you're throwing them away and then fish them out later on, and then get him something new. So yeah, he will eventually. Everyone's always asking me, basically, how do we avoid the scene? The scenes, the fits, the meltdowns and tantrums are where the change happens. It's the transitions. That is how change happens. It doesn't happen easily. Not usually anyway. Is sending my 5-year-old daughter to her room to relax the same as timeout? Well, I don't know what she's relaxing from. Is she overtired? Or it is kind of the same thing. Say, look, if you're really feeling upset or whatever, you might just want to lay down in your room. It's okay if you say it like that. Say, do you want to just go in your room and relax for a while? But you don't send her to a room as timeout. There's a difference. You can ask her, do you want to go in your room and just relax for a while? Someone said, oh, this is funny. Marco video says, who are you? Geez, that's a big question. I'm a mom, grandmother, parenting coach. I'm just here answering parenting questions. Who are you? Absolutely helping me become more of a leader too. Crucial part. Excellent. Is this the Megan Scott? Is that the potty training? It's just, yeah, the potty party. It's all about connection and playing with them, and a lot of poop and pee too. But basically, it's about connecting, right, Megan? It's both. Everything I teach is about connecting with your kids. Discipline is a tiny part of what I teach. It just gets mixed up with this stuff. But yeah, it's about connecting with kids. It's really what I teach. Okay, I'm going to look on YouTube now. My husband doesn't take well to being told he's broken the no yelling rule. Can I just leave him off the board? I'm the leader and I'm around the kids most of the time anyway. You know what I would do? I would say, okay, I respect that, that's not working for you, or you might word it so that it doesn't get us back up and say, how about your role is play hide and seek with the kids for 10 minutes? Depending if you have teenagers, obviously that's not going to work. So, but yeah, change his role to something fun with the kids. And if he doesn't do it, the next day he has to do double. Which kids don't usually pick up if they're little, the fact that you're only getting the same amount of hide and seek. It's just that you're getting it all bunched into one day. Samaya here from Belgium. Oh, Samaya. Right. Samaya. I'll forget that again. Sorry, Samaya from Belgium. That was Antwerp in Belgium. I thought it was just the most gorgeous city. I was there in 1980. Yeah, Antwerp. It was Antwerpen or something they call it, but Antwerp. I just loved it. It was one of my favorite cities in all of Europe. What's the bottom line of being a leader? I don't have a bottom line. I guess the whole idea is you want to make kids feel good about themselves. When you're the source of that, they want to please you, right? Have you ever had someone that makes you feel great about yourself? Brings out the best in you? Don't you kind of want to please that person? That's what I base this on. And then they don't rebel in the teen years or anything. Like my son was 15 and he says, I could never even rebel. He says, you were too reasonable and easy to talk to. So I went, oh, sorry. Woo-hoo. So yeah, they don't rebel against a leader because you make them feel good. I don't want obedient soldiers here. I want kids who make good choices and have high self-esteem and they like themselves. They're nice to be around. But you're not going for obedient soldiers. That's ridiculous. Who'd want that? I want them to think for themselves. I want them to say to me, Mom, I didn't like the way you handled that. And I go, oh, fine. Okay. What did I do wrong? And they'd go this and I go, oh, you're right. Okay. What do you want me to do to make it up to you? Believe me, my kids had a voice. We were all accountable, but I was very much the leader. We only do screen time on Mondays. I don't know how your household works, but you take away something that they like and use every single day. And that's what you take away, but never take away love or socializing or athletics or anything healthy. But there's usually one toy or one activity that they do every day that you can take away. And I got a million other ideas, but I don't know your household, so. I haven't been on here since Thursday, I think. I just haven't had time anymore. I used to do these lives every single day. I just don't have time anymore. I miss it. I guess, I'm coaching a lot and that's my connection with parenting, but I still want to do these lives because you have to pay to get that connection. I'd rather, give something for free too. My 3-year-old boy hates wearing clothes. Any advice? Keep the clothes on. Put on the behavior board, keep your clothes on. But I would ask him why. Like maybe he doesn't like tags. I remember once, this cute story. I think I told this on a live the other day. I can't remember. I think I told it I told it somewhere, maybe the podcast. Anyway, and I was telling this story and I said, my son, I always made all of his clothes. And so he'd never had tags before. And I remember once he was going to learn swimming in school. So they had to get changed. And I thought, well, instead of wearing mom's homemade underpants, which I made from all of old t-shirts, I made all my underpants too. I love making something out of nothing. Upcycling. I was doing that before there was even a word for it. I was upcycling. And anyway, I just love all that. So I decided I was going to buy him some undies because I didn't want my kid going, they didn't look homemade, but I still thought, oh, I'll buy him some undies. They had dinosaurs on them. And that'll be a special, going to school swimming day undies. So he came home and I had them laid out on the bed. And he goes in, he was 5. And he goes in and goes, oh, wow. And I thought he was excited about the dinosaurs. But he said, oh, they've got a tag. He'd never had undies with a tag before. That was what he was all excited about. Funny part is he couldn't handle it. He kept going like this. He couldn't handle the tag. So I cut it. And even the little fringe left, that was annoying him. So I had to pick apart the waistband and take out the tag and then sew up the waistband again. So I may as well have made some underwear. But anyway, isn't that hilarious? They got a tag. So find out why he doesn't like wearing clothes. Ask him. And then find more comfortable clothes potentially. If not, just say, keep your clothes on, put it on the behavior board. And if he takes his clothes off, there's a consequence. There's no anger in any of this. It's just, there's a reaction to everything that kids do, good or bad. I used to teach my kids, if you're good, life is good. If your bad, life ain't so good. I'll make sure of that because I'm your mom and that's my job. So I always taught them to sort of make good choices. So I didn't have to tell them what to do ever. My daughter and I are doing a podcast together and stuff's coming up because she sees her life as from the leader, from the child of the leader perspective. And I don't ever, it's interesting, stuff's coming up that we don't normally talk about because we never talk about parenting. she's not into it, and it's our business. So we talk about the business end whenever we get together. So we never talk about parenting. That's my department, right? So anyway, so this stuff's coming up in our podcast. It's quite interesting because she remember, and I said, do you ever remember me disciplining you? And she goes, just once. And it's on one of the podcasts that's already out. It's the fruit cup story. But she said, you were in trouble all the time. I was the one always in trouble because I would say something like, oh, I promise tonight I'll make cupcakes or muffins or whatever. Sure enough, I'd forget. And then the next day, Mom, I don't see no muffins. So I go, fine, what do you want? So I was the one. I just sort of say something. And I don't think before I speak. So I probably should. But at this age, I don't think that's going to change. Geez, I'm almost 64 years old now. Wow. How'd that happen? I remember thinking 50 was really old. And I felt old when I turned 50. I felt old. I went to New York to celebrate it there. And then in my 60s, I love being in my 60s. I don't feel as old in my 60s as I did in my 50s. Isn't that weird? Maybe because I was going through menopause back then too. I don't know. And I put on like 40 or more pounds during menopause. I was a bit chunky. But yeah, menopause was, it wasn't horrible, at all. But why am I talking about menopause here? But yeah, why am I talking about being old? Why am I talking about this? Anyway, doesn't matter. Oh, if there's an issue signing up, just a sec, I'll just send my daughter a note. She does all that. Oh, everything's shut down here. Oh, all my accounts have shut down. I'm having to, I'll just send her a text. Just a sec. Just so that she doing a live and someone said my newsletter sign up has shut down. There we go. Okay, she'll look at it. Thank you. Things happen. You get used to that. Oh, she's got her notifications silenced. Mom just unsilenced, but okay. There's a nationwide issue with Verizon if you go through them. What's Verizon? I'm in Canada, so I don't know that. Don't know what's going on. Yeah, everything's asking me to, like I couldn't even get into YouTube. It asked me to verify it. I'm having to verify everything right now. I don't know why that would be. Okay, she said it's actually working. So maybe it's on your end, or maybe you've got a Wi-Fi glitch or something. So just a sec. Thanks, sweetie. She works with me. We don't have any hours. We work when we want. Like we just work whenever we want. Because it's my business, so she can work whenever she wants and vice versa. Okay. How do you discipline or do consequences around mealtime? Put on the board, follow mealtime routine. And then underneath there, put down mealtime routine is sit in your seat without getting up, no toys, no screens at the dinner table, whatever. You can put down whatever you want, but never put attitude. You never discipline attitude because that's ridiculous. They're going to have attitude. They can't control emotions, right? So you never put that down. Anyway, so then you put down all the rules that you want. And then when you get up, when you're finished and we say you can get up or whatever, put it all down in the mealtime routine. If she doesn't follow it, then there's a consequence. But don't say anything during the meal. You don't want to ruin a meal. Like if she does get up, just say, oh, have a seat. Oh, I didn't mean that. I would say, we'll talk about it after dinner. Do not go to that board or do not discuss the behavior board during dinner. You do it afterwards. And then when you do go up there, then you say, remember you got up and you did this or whatever, and you brought a toy over. So here's the consequence. There's no anger in any of this. It's just like your business transaction. Do you offer a single one-on-one option for going over family dynamics and behavior board setup? Well, I've got private coaching, but it only 5 sessions. So it probably wouldn't be worth your while. If you just want to go over the behavior board, And I've got a wait list for that. That's pretty good right now. It's maybe a week. I think it was up to 6 weeks over the summer. So I've got, the funny thing is, because I did finish with a lot of clients over the summer, and then like tons of my clients right now are new clients, first time sessions. So it goes like that. It's like we're all sort of all going, it's just bizarre how it turns out that way. Oh, and everything I've got, all my courses, everything, the podcast, everything is in the link above. It's on my website, BratBusters.com. And there's lots of copycats out there trying to steal my audience, pretending that they're me. Watch out for that. My website is BratBustersPlural.com. There's lots of other people up. They've been shut down right, left, and center, but they just open up again. There's nothing you can do about that. It's a waste of our time even trying. But just be careful. Lots of people, because I've got a pretty big following now, plus across my platforms, and so yeah, it's just, you're just going to get that. It just happens. Nothing. Yeah, you just shut them down, then they start up again, because that's what they do for a living, right? They're scammers. Anyway, I'm going to move over to, I've been on here for a while now. I'm going to move over to Instagram now. If you want to join me over there, you can do so. It's BratBusters.com, over BratBusters Parenting on Instagram. And anyway, thanks so much for joining me. Check out the link above. You can see my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my boot camp courses. I have one for toddlers, one for 3 to 12-year-olds, or you can look into private coaching. And also my podcast is out now. There's 3. We just started it last week, 6 days ago. So it's every Tuesday, there'll be a new episode. We've got 3, we put up 3 right away. So the first 3 episodes are already out, and they're doing like really well. We just couldn't be happier with it. So anyway, thanks so much for your support. I really appreciate that. And I'm hopping over to Instagram, and I'm on TikTok. I'm on YouTube the whole time I'm here. So that's where all my lives are saved, if you're interested. Anyway, thank you. Happy parenting. You wouldn't believe how many buttons I have to push to get to a live. Okay, so YouTube here. How do you deal with a 9-year-old who refuses to listen when told to clean his room? So he just doesn't listen to your orders? Yeah, I don't talk like that. I would just say follow chore chart. And on his chore chart, he has to clean his room, but I would sort of help him get started. I don't like to ask kids to clean clutter and chaos and that. I like to help them get started with that. And so there's a place for everything in its place. So you help them get started, and then say, from now on, the rule is you have to keep your room clean. But I don't know about that. Depends. I don't expect them to keep it perfect. And I'm really fussy. I let my kids just keep their room to a certain point. Then I went in with my fussy stuff afterwards. So he's not going to listen. You got to have a rule and say, clean your room. Keep your room clean to a certain degree, make your bed every morning, hang up your clothes, dirty clothes go in the hamper, that kind of thing. Every day before 10 kind of thing. So you're covering the weekends when you do it like that, or before by noon or whatever. Anyway, and then there's a consequence if he doesn't, just follow through. Just barking an order at a kid is useless. Where's the consequence if he doesn't do it? Where's the lesson? How is he gonna, I don't do that. Yeah, I don't know how to answer this one. And the reason is I don't know what's going on. How to deal with a toddler who won't hold your hand when you got to go somewhere. They just sit on the ground. Why are you not just picking them up and grabbing them sort of by the, here, and say, come on, we got to go. I would kind of force that. If you got to get going, I would just force it. Can you not just pick them up, not facing you, but away from you? Just cart them out. It's no big deal. You're just picking up a parcel kind of thing. And I wouldn't talk to them. I say, okay, we got to go. They sit down. I'd pick them up right away. If you're unable to do that, then I don't quite know why they're sitting. Do they not want to leave where they're going, or I don't quite know. You said your 12-year-old has full-on tantrum meltdown during a diaper change. They're either a disabled 12-year-old or they're a 12-month-old. So I don't quite know what you mean. Oh, 12-month-old. Okay. because some of my clients have disabled kids who are in diapers at that age. Anyway, so yeah, but just follow through. Don't talk to them. Don't look at them. Just follow through with what you're doing. When they fight you, you just take action. When they're 12 months old, like a good example of this, that I know that this works. My ex-husband was more inclined to not follow through. He was more inclined to say, how about I get you a toy? Or how about I get you, he was doing the pleaser parent stuff, right? And I'm the leader. So I would say, okay, we're going to change your diaper. And I put them on the change table. When they started screaming and having a meltdown, I did it anyway. I would put my elbow across their chest and change their diaper that way if I had to. And I use big cloth diapers too. So it was not an easy thing to do. But yeah, I just follow through. They eventually learn, oh, she doesn't take any crap. They just learn, but it's gonna take a while. They're still babies at that age. It's gonna take a while. It's not gonna be one time. It's gonna be probably 10 or 50. And they might not do it every time. They might be fine for a week, and then next thing you know, they're having a fit. I'm gonna read out my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. But where is that? No, I should have that at the top because it's really common. Okay. These are my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. And to me, a toddler is 16 to 35 months, just in the way I do it. Number 1, childproof your home so you never have to say no. Number 2, set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. Number 3, when you want to connect with a toddler, you do so in their world. You don't take them to the nail salon with you. You go to the park and roll down the hill. They start to look at you differently when you get good at this. Number 4 is kind of similar. You discipline a toddler in their world. They're not about words. They're about actions. You use consistent corrective actions. They do something naughty, you remove them from the fun, and it's not timeout. You take them with you. You just remove them from the fun, or remove the fun from them just for a few minutes or whatever. And these words, all this reasoning, and that hurt me, and they don't care. They're not listening to you. Those mini therapy sessions are just garbage. I know they're trendy, but they're crap. Get rid of them. Just use consistent corrective actions and stay calm when you're doing it. They'll eventually learn. Number 5 is stop trying to figure them out. Toddlers are not figure-outable. They're brand new, fresh human beings. They have one marble and some tumbleweed floating around in there. They're cute as a button, but they're all feet, no brains. Imagine if you've only been in the world for 2 years and that first year you were a potato laying on a mattress. Like, they're just forming. I always call them crazy. It's just that they're not really crazy. They kind of are, but it's because they haven't developed sanity yet. They haven't developed common sense. So yeah, they're just forming. 4-year-old started hitting. That's an easy one. Not an easy one to deal with, but an easy answer. You get my behavior board. It's completely free, and you put down no hitting. Every time they hit, there's a consequence. If they hit all day long, you go straight to the second consequence. You'll see what I mean when you look at the behavior board. Please save this video and repost this live. Well, this isn't a video, but all of my lives are saved on YouTube if you're interested. And YouTube's getting, I've almost got 20,000 on YouTube. YouTube's a search engine. It's a very different beast. We haven't put a lot of focus into YouTube because, it's a whole other thing. We're very busy. Podcast is more important than YouTube. So we got the podcast going. But yeah, it's picking up speed because I've got good following on social media, but yeah, YouTube's picking up now too. So I'm very happy with that. Okay. What is considered a consequence? Because I'm going to suggest something that you're not doing. This is for Angelica on YouTube. What is considered a consequence? Did I finish the last one? I feel like I didn't finish that. Yeah, the 5 steps to a toddler. Okay, yeah, okay. Okay, Angelica says, what's considered a consequence for a 2-year-old for hitting, pushing, kicking other kids at the kid gym? So at Gymboree or whatever, one of those things, I guess. And then she says, after hearing your advice recently, I started making him leave his gym before it ends if he gets aggressive. I would pull him away from the other kids for sure. But if he likes it, I would pull him away and make him sit with me and watch. There's no way I would leave right away. I'd make him watch. Unless he's disturbing everyone, then I would take him outside. But yeah, I wouldn't leave right away. I'd want him to watch the fun that he's not having. He'll eventually learn, just for a few minutes, put him back in, but then you want to be right with him and stop the future hits. So that's what you do with the first hit. After that, you'd be right there and you prevent future hits because you don't want other kids getting hit. I noticed I noticed when I'm out and about, because I've got a decent following now, people recognize me pretty well every day. I'll see someone who recognizes me. Do you know how I know? And I don't like it because I feel kind of exposed. I always say I feel like I have to be nice or act like I'm nice instead of that, walking around with purpose kind of look. Anyway, so yeah, they always look at me the same way. It's bizarre. They always go like this. They do like a 2 or 3 takes. And they look at me like, I don't know, what am I supposed to do? I always feel like I have to dance or something. It's the weirdest thing. Now, I used to get recognized a lot before when I used to do a lot of TV and radio, but I don't know why the difference is now. I guess that was like 20 years ago. And but the difference is that people don't come up and ask me parenting questions like they used to, which is good because I'm not on the clock when I'm out walking around, right? So, but yeah, before they always would come up and ask me parenting questions. It was just bizarre. It was always the way. And now they don't. They'll come up and say hi sometimes. But yeah, they don't, because I'm not on the clock. I guess they must know that. You guys must know that, but it's quite funny. Okay. Oh, this is a tough one. I can't answer it, but I'll read it out. Do you suggest therapy/counseling for a 6-year-old who seems to have developed anxiety? A lot of kids are developing anxiety these days. Now, I can't comment on that now that you've asked me about therapy and counseling. Because, yeah, if you think you should do that, go ahead. I have nothing to do with that. That's not my lane. So that's why I can't comment on it. I'm not a therapist. I have no formal training. I just have experience, wisdom, and all that stuff. But I have found that when you're a leader for your children, they tend to be calm. And when I'm hired by people who have children with, I won't go into this too much because I got to be careful, who have challenges, once the parents are set up as a leader, those challenges tend to lessen, if not disappear. So your leadership is so much more powerful than you think. Often, but that's about all I want to say. Because if the child is diagnosed with anxiety and you're worried about it, then of course, go and get help wherever you feel you should get help from. But yeah, it's something that comes up a lot in coaching. When my 2-year-old, you must be new. When my 2-year-old has a meltdown, she starts crying and wants me to hold her. Yeah, you still ignore her. That's not a love hug. That's a validate me. I want my own way. It has nothing to do with love. Okay. It's just different. So yeah, I just peel them off me or I pretend they're not even there. There's no way I would hug them during a tantrum or right after. As soon as they finish the tantrum, you ignore the crazy, which is the tantrum. Then you reward the calm with attention. And the way you finally look at them when they're finished, you look at them. If they want a hug and they're doing all that, you just go, you're all right. Pat them on the back and then say, do you want to go read a book? So you don't go that, oh, it's okay. You're actually looking like you feel sorry for them. Like you don't want to make a big deal out of this. Okay. You're validating it. You're condoning it. You're consoling it. You don't console a tantrum. Yeah. Why would you do that? They look upset, but it's not, you don't need to validate every single feeling. The tantrum and everything around it is just a scene, a loss of emotional control and not getting what they want. You don't need to validate that. You do not want to validate that. It makes it look like you feel bad for them, and you don't. They just didn't accept the fact that they can't have whatever, the butcher knife or whatever you were holding. You know what I mean? Like this. Why would you need to validate that? Yeah, don't go down that path. Be careful with that. But you go, yeah, you're all right. Let's go read a book. I've worked with hundreds of kids. That's how I always dealt with it. And they were just fine. Next thing you know, they're reading a book and they're fine. You can hug them any other time, but I wouldn't hug them around them not getting what they want. It makes it look like you feel bad that they didn't get it. And you don't. You might, but I wouldn't. Yeah, if you don't know the difference between crying and a tantrum, I don't know if I can't explain it here. So yeah, you can usually tell. Oh, you're asking me if your child's autistic? I don't know. I'm not qualified for any of that. I deal with a lot of parents with autistic children, but I'm not qualified to diagnose that at all. Best advice for introducing a 2-year-old to a new baby sibling? I have none. It's too big for you to be able to explain it to them. They don't really get it until you're home for about a week or two. And then they go, oh, this thing isn't leaving. Watch them like a hawk. They might even go in and throw the baby on the floor. So yeah, it's like they seem all up. They don't understand that. To them, it's like a doll. They don't understand concussions, soft spots. You're in charge of that. You're in charge of your baby's safety. And if your toddler tries to hurt them, that's your responsibility to keep the baby safe. So yeah, they can't understand it. It's too big. You can't explain that to a 2-year-old, how their life is going to change. Could anyone really have explained to you, an adult, what it was like to have a new baby, to start like your first child? Yeah, they can, but do you really get it until you have it? No, it's like that. So it's, what got me, and I had tons of experience with babies, kids, teenagers, and all that. Not teenagers before I had my kids. I didn't do all that teen work until my kids were born around. Anyway, so the only thing that got me that I thought, wow, this is hard, was the sleep, like getting up every 2 hours. Initially, I found that hard. That's not something you can prepare for. No matter how much experience I had with babies, it was in hospitals or facilities of some sort usually, or looking after other people's babies, right? Nothing can prepare you for night after night after night of being woken up every couple hours. And I was lousy at taking naps. I look back, I love cleaning, so I always was cleaning everything. He'd go down for a nap and then I'd clean, like crazy. So I should have slept. But yeah, nothing can prepare you for that. So how can you possibly prepare a 2-year-old for what's going to happen? It's impossible. There's lots of hints and tips out there. But yeah, I haven't found any of them to be the answer kind of thing. If you're new here, welcome. I just want to introduce myself. I don't remember if I introduced myself on here. Anyway, because I think I was answering a YouTube question, but I'll do it now anyway. It doesn't hurt. If you go on the link above, you'll see my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp courses, one for toddlers, one for 3 to 12-year-olds. Or you can look into coaching. There's a wait list, but it's pretty short right now. Like it's about a week. Or you can listen to our podcast. We have 3 of them out now. They just came out last Tuesday. So it's brand new. And we're going to be releasing a new one every Tuesday. It's really funny because my daughter works with me. She's my business partner. She's in charge of all that back end stuff, which she loves. She doesn't like being in front of the camera. And I hate all the back end stuff. So we don't ever, like, she just tells me what to do and just do it, because she sort of does all the planning too for the business. Anyway, so when we're filming our podcasts, we do like a couple of them at a time. And then after the first 2, she'll say, okay, I'm done. And then I'll say, oh, I could do another 20, because it wears her out, because she's on camera with me. So it wears her out. Whereas with me, it just energizes. I could do like 30 more. But it's quite funny. We're just so different. That's why we work so well together, because our roles do not cross over at all. She has nothing to do with parenting, and I have nothing to do with marketing, social media, and planning. Yeah, that's why we work so well. We get along great anyway, but it's a perfect mesh of our two personalities. Oops. My kid is 3 years old and well behaved. Oh, some of it's genetics. Yeah, some kids are just born easy. My daughter was like that. She really hardly ever cried. She never had a tantrum. My son was more apt. He didn't cry a lot, but he was more apt to cry. And he did end up having tantrums for a couple of years there. So when he was little. But yeah, they're just born differently. So I know that sometimes I've met people and I won't go on about it too much because they might know who they are. But they said, oh, well, all you have to do when they're having a tantrum is this. And sure enough, because they were just so, oh no, our kids would never have a tantrum. It's because we do this. This is how we do it. Sure enough, they had another kid. This kid was off the charts tantrumy. Yeah, they shut up after that. It was quite funny because I was thinking to myself, yeah, your kids just aren't predisposed for tantrums. It's something they're born to have. So, and I've had so much experience with kids and I know that. So they were just bragging away. Oh no, our kids have never had a tantrum because they know we wouldn't put up with it. Well, their other kids certainly didn't know that. Yeah, it has a lot to do with temperament. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, whenever someone's bragging about their kids being so good, I'm thinking, yeah, maybe you were just lucky. Could be, or maybe you're doing everything right. I don't know. What's the difference between punishment and discipline? I think it's the same thing. Consequences, punishment, discipline, the karma. It's whatever. It's the reaction to what you've done is what it is. That's the way I look at it. It's all the same thing. I always told my kids, if you're good, life is good. If you're bad, life ain't so good. I'll make sure of it because I'm your mom and that's my job. So I made sure if they did something naughty that there was a consequence for that. I made sure of that. I didn't let anything go. But they were only naughty sometimes till they were about three, maybe 3.5 sometimes. It was rare. And then after that, why would they be? Because I was a leader. Why? Kids aren't naughty with a leader. Because you build them up. They feel good about themselves. They're proud of themselves. Give your kids something to be proud of. Good behavior is where it all starts. If your kids are acting out, what's there to be proud of? They know their self-esteem's in the toilet. Kids who are acting out past the age of 3.5, their self-esteem is in the toilet. Guaranteed. They're not. What have they got to be proud of? They're treating their parents like crap. They're kicking. They're hitting teachers. You know what I mean? Like, what's there to be proud of? They know. They feel bad about themselves. So you're doing them a favor by being a leader and bringing out the best in them. And you want them to like themselves. There's no shaming in any of this. If you're shaming your children, you're doing it wrong. Oops, I got to get going. I'm going over to TikTok. Check out my link above. You can see my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp courses. I have 2 of them now. And you can look into coaching. There's a wait list for that, but it's pretty good right now. I know the summer was rough. It was like 6-week waiting list, but that's pretty good right now, maybe a week. And then our podcast is now out. We've got 3 of them out. It just started last Tuesday, so we dumped 3 of them online. And you can listen to it on my website, BratBusters.com. It's on the link above. Or you can listen to it it's BratBusters Parenting Podcast. You can listen to it on Spotify, Apple, all that stuff, Amazon. And if you're interested, it's me and my daughter. We're both doing it together. And you can watch it on YouTube if you want to see us. I don't know if it makes any difference. But anyway, so I'm going to go over to TikTok now. And that's my biggest platform. So I go and YouTube the whole time, but I go from Facebook to Instagram to TikTok every time I do a live. So, and eventually we'll have it set up where I'll be doing them all at the same time. But I wasn't smart enough my daughter already set that up once before and it scared me. So now I switch from one to the other. It was just so technical looking. It looked like a back end, it was terrifying. So anyway, hopefully I'll get better at that and I can do them all at the same time. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me and I'm heading over to TikTok. Bye now. There we go. Okay. What's the best way to introduce potty time? I have a whole course on that. It's a whole system, so I can't give you, one piece of advice. Check out my mini course. It's in the description on YouTube or it's in a link in TikTok if you're watching there. People are just coming in now, so TikTok's slower to get going. Instagram, everyone turns up right away within 10 seconds. Then every other platform, it's slower. It's just bizarre. I can't figure it out. I don't know why that annoys me. It doesn't annoy me so much, but it's just like, why is that? Why is that? Okay, so welcome to my live. I'm just waiting for everyone to turn up. I'm on YouTube the whole time while I'm doing this. I'm just going to take a little bit of a voice break here. I'm trying to learn to talk slower because I do so much talking in this business and my voice starts to go. How long should a team be without electronics after they're grounded? Oh, it's 1 day. I would never ground for more than 1. I don't use the word grounded. I would only cut off the screen time media blackout for 24 hours. Anything past that loses its power and makes you look weak, makes you look like you're afraid of them. It just does. Just do it for 24 hours. If you want to check out the behavior board, you might want to look at that. And you can call it the family law or whatever, or the rules thing, whatever you want to call it. But it's completely free. It's up above. And all teens, I don't have a course for teens right now. But if you go on my website, we have a podcast now, and there's a submit your parenting question. So if that might, I hardly ever get I get a lot of coaching clients with teenagers, but in these lives, I hardly ever get teenagers, like parents of teenagers. And that's what I specialize in. So you can either look into coaching or go and submit your question on the podcast. That might be a good question for a podcast, because I'll dive on any teenage stuff that is appropriate to answer on a podcast. But yeah, because I don't get a lot. So, but anyway, so you can submit a question for the podcast if you're interested. I make her look at YouTube to distract her while giving dinner. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't get into using screens at meal times. I think that's a good time to connect with your kids. You're chatting and all that. So, okay. I don't know why people do this on YouTube. Message retracted. It happens a lot. I don't know. I always wonder, what did you write? What did you want to take down there? I'm always curious. I'm a curious person. Okay, I'm just going to read out a couple of things that I think parents sort of maybe don't think about a lot. Parents tend to over praise and underplay. What I mean by that is, I'll give you an example. Let's say you got a 5-year-old kid here, and a lot of parents would do this, and they would say, "Oh, you're like," if they're trying to build the kid up, right? If you're trying to make a kid feel good about himself, this is what parents will do. They overpraise. You're wonderful. You're special. You can do anything you want. You're this, that, and then you say, "Okay, I'm going to go do the dishes now." This is the kid. He doesn't care about that. Kids don't care about praise. He's like this. Now you say to that same kid, you say, "Hey, what are you doing? Can I play too?" Look at his face. Look at the difference. Play is their love language, not praise. Parents tend to overpraise and underplay. Praise is okay, but don't do it instead of play. A lot of parents do that. They tend to think that praising children will build up their self-esteem. It actually does nothing for them. Nothing. Praise does not build self-esteem at all. It does squat. Some of my clients are child psychologists. They'll argue with me on that one. They'll pretend to give in. I don't know if they do, but yeah, we go into great detail about why. But yeah, what makes a kid feel good about themselves? Being nice, right? Being a good person, give them something to be proud of. That's where self-esteem comes from. Being told you're great. If you're acting out, they don't feel great no matter what you say. If they're already great, the way they treat people and how they act, then their self-esteem's already up there. So praise is kind of overrated. It's okay. I did praise my kids, but I played with them a lot more than I praised them. So kids' love language is fun. Also, another thing that parents often get wrong here is with toddlers and all kids, actually. Why on earth would they do that? I've already explained why you shouldn't do that. In other words, parents seem to think that they act out because they don't understand. It has nothing to do with it. Do you speed because you don't know you shouldn't? You see? It has understanding has nothing to do with acting out or doing the wrong thing. It's a lack of consequences, what it is. There's no lesson in it. Like if you were told that you're never going to get a speeding ticket, you understand you shouldn't though. Would you speed a bit more? You see what I mean? Like it's not that they don't understand what the right from wrong. It's that they lack the impulse control, because it's the consequences that keep us all in line as adults too. It's the consequences. My kids knew if they acted out, I would have gone, "What, are you kidding me with this? Okay, you can empty the dishwasher." I just wouldn't have put up with anything. So it's the lack of consequences that is the problem. That's what teaches children right from wrong, is the consequences. It's not a lack of understanding. That's why parents tend to over-explain all the time. You're always explaining everything to them. When you hit me, that hurts my feelings. You're a good boy. I know you didn't mean to hit, and you say you're sorry and all this garbage. It's crap. Just say to a kid you hit, okay, now you're going to do the dishes. And if you won't do the dishes, then there's media blackout for 24 hours. What's going to have more impact? And you're just lecturing and this mini therapy session garbage. It out. You're making them feel bad. I don't do that. I don't shame children. I say, oh, okay, that was bad. So here's your consequence. And okay, you can do that. And then do you want to go to the park? There's no shame in being bad. You don't shame them for being bad, or it will become their identity. So when you go on about discussing things, you're actually shaming them, berating them, and bullying them. I don't do that. You say, oh, that was bad. It's okay to say that was bad. You don't say you're bad. You say, oh, that was bad. Here's your consequence. And now, do you want to go read a book? Or, no big deal. It's no big deal. So yeah, it's not a lack of understanding. It's a lack of impulse control because there's no consequence. It's the consequence that teaches us all how to stay in line. All of us, adults, everything. Okay. I'm just going to read out a few more things. I'm going to read out something that it comes up in coaching a lot. Now, I don't use this method when I'm dealing with kids, but it's along the same lines. And also, the word sorry is so overused. Like, say he said he was sorry. Why would he do it again? Because all he's going to have to do is say sorry. If you didn't have to pay your taxes and all you had to do was say sorry and you never had to pay your taxes, would you ever pay your taxes? You see what I mean? Like, the word sorry is just so overused. It's ridiculous. It doesn't mean anything to me. So you're sorry, and then, okay, what else? Like, where's the real apology? Here's how you apologize effectively. So I made all this up, but anyway, I just believe in this. There's 4 steps to a good apology. And it's sort of in line with teaching kids about consequences, okay? So it's all the same thing. Here's a good apology. Sorry just starts the ball rolling. I don't really care about that word, that empty, overused word. So say you're sorry. The second step is take full responsibility. I shouldn't have done that. I feel really bad about that. I shouldn't have done that. Don't say, because you did that, I wouldn't have done it if you, don't blame the other person. Just, it's all your fault. Take full responsibility. Be accountable for what you did wrong. The third step is make amends. What can I do to make it up to you? Sorry, I did that. I shouldn't have done it. I messed up. What can I do to make it up to you? If they can't come up with something, say, okay, how about I do this for you? And then the last step is don't keep doing it. If you keep repeating the same mistake over and over and over again, that apology meant nothing. So, 4 steps. Teach your children this as they get older. My kids are really good at apologizing. And I remember once I was bragging to a friend about how good I am at apologizing because she said, gee, you're so good at apologizing. I wouldn't have been late. I don't know what I must have forgot something I said I was going to bring. So anyway, I had a friend over once and my teenage son was in the kitchen. And I guess he was listening in. And so I said to her, or something tweaked his interest. And I said to her, yeah, I'm really good at apologizing. And my son yells out, that's because you've had so much practice. He was always good at calling me and stuff. Okay. But yeah, do you know how to apologize effectively, or you see? Do you recommend timeout? Can't stand timeout. I think it's just humiliating and mean. Yeah, I don't believe in it. There's 3 things I don't believe in and I can't stand. They're really common. There's 3 of them. Timeout is the least of the one I can't stand. The other one is diversion. Because you never divert with broccoli. It's always a reward. They're doing something bad and you go, oh, here's some candy. You see, you're actually rewarding the bad behavior. The worst one, the first one that I say you should totally avoid this, is the countdown. It's fine if you're trying to get them out the door and say, we're going to be leaving in 5 minutes. That's different. But if you're trying to get them to stop a bad behavior, the countdown is telling them, I'm going to count to 3 and then so you better stop. Not only is there no consequence at the end of that, they just got to be rotten and keep hitting someone or whatever for 3 counts. So you're teaching that it's okay to be rotten in the short term, but not the long term. And then where's the consequence? What did they learn? Nothing. They just learned it's okay to be rotten for 3 counts. And then afterwards, there's no consequence. It's wonderful. They're going to keep doing it. They're going to keep doing it. Okay. 5.5-year-old lying. Yeah, just put down no lying on the behavior board. Just say it like it is. No stealing, no lying, whatever they're doing. Just put it on the behavior board. But if it's something that they might be ashamed of, embarrassed, I would maybe use a code word so that visitors wouldn't see that. Okay? Potentially, but even then, it's no big deal usually. Alternate time for timeout. When they're under the age of 3, it's consistent corrective actions. And when they're 3 and over, it's about consequences that are written down on the behavior board. But when they're under the age of 3, it's consistent corrective actions. You remove them from the fun with you. You don't put them in timeout. You remove them from the fun or remove the fun from them for just a few minutes or whatever. You got to be consistent, though. It's consistent corrective actions, not words. Words are useless. Just say one word. No, it just starts the ball rolling. No, and then remove them from the fun or take the toy away that they hit with, whatever. Put it away where they can see it but can't touch it. And let the fit, the scene, the meltdown, the tantrum, let it happen. That is them processing not getting their own way. That is them processing not being allowed to be mean. That is them processing, maybe I should be better. Make better choices. So allow that. Remember that, I talk about this a lot, but that 8-year-old kid that I worked with, I was warned he was a handful. Like anyone ever handed me an easy kid. It was always, good luck with this one, Lisa. And they said, oh, he's next level. He's a handful. And so when I met him, and I was just a mentor, all volunteer mentor with kids, behavioral mentor. Anyway, when I met him, he said to me, he's 8, and he says, if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to have a fit. Just that filthy face. And I said to him, bring it on. And he never did. He thought, oh, she knows what she's doing. He was great with me. They're all begging for a leader. When they come up against a calm leader, they know it. And they're great. Yeah, he was great with me. But he instantly went like this. He thought, oh, she knows what she's doing. It's that energy. You're learning how to do this, but once you get it, you don't even have to do anything. It just takes a look. They don't tend to act out with you because they want to please the leader. The leader makes them feel good about themselves. They want to please the leader. That's how this works. Have you ever had anyone that makes you feel really good about yourself, even as an adult? How do you treat that person? Aren't you kind of like, oh, you're all, what can I do for you? You know what I mean? Like whoever makes you feel good, you tend to treat good. So make your kids feel good. There's no shaming in any of this. Okay. If my child has media blackout, but someone else in the home was watching TV, can you watch it also? No, they have to go in a separate room and watch it. You never sequester the one who's got the media blackout. They have the run of the house, except usually the kid can go in their own room, or if they're little kids, usually put them in the master bedroom. It's kind of more fun. And it's a smaller screen. They're going to suffer a bit, but that's part of being in a family. They're usually quite happy that they've got a smaller screen and their sibling has none. Okay. So yeah. And then you do media blackout with them. Don't tell them that ahead of time. Just say, hey, well, look, you got no media. I'm not going to use it while you're got media blackout. How about we play a game? No, I hate you. I hate you. To say, okay, never mind. Walk away. When they calm down, say, you ready for that game now? You want to connect with them, sir, my elbow. You want to connect with them during media blackout. That is your opportunity because connection is really what I teach. Discipline isn't what I teach at all. That's just something you got to do and get it done. It's more about connecting with your kids. When you're connected as a leader, they want to please you. And when they're teenagers, they just don't want to disappoint you, but they want to please themselves because they have high self-esteem. Yeah. And what often happens, families have told me this. And so you've got one kid with media blackout, let's say 2 others, they've gone in the master bedroom and they've only got a tablet. And that's where they're watching their show. So you're playing games with the other one who's got media blackout. And they're not in the doghouse. You've already imposed the consequence. The consequence is no screens. Now you connect with them. So they didn't want to play the game at first. You come at them a few times, and eventually, the younger they are, the more likely they are to play with you. So you're playing a game. The other kids will often turn off that screen and come out and play also. So it's no screen time for the whole family. You're not juggling and playing games with them the whole 24 hours, but right after you've imposed the media blackout, that's when you want to do this connecting. Do you have a book? No, I've never written a book. I've never read a book on parenting or kids or anything because it's all experience-based, right? So no, I was going to hopefully write a book next year, but now we got our podcast and I still coach. Like I keep saying I'm going to quit coaching because I don't need to do it anymore. But I just love it. So I'm kind of coaching instead of a book. That's sort of, but maybe one day I will. I'd like to write a book one day. We've talked about it, but the podcast took precedence over the book. I mean, you can sell a book. You don't sell a podcast, but you can sell a book. So there's more money in it. But I'm still like, we're very passionate about sharing information. So that was my daughter felt was more important. And I get it. My podcast is everywhere. It's on Amazon, Apple, Spotify, and it's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast. And yes, you can get coaching. You can look into that. I only sell 5 sessions. I used to sell 1 session like a couple of years ago. And it's just frustrating for me because I know how long it takes to get results. And it's just the way I prefer to do it because I know how to take you through 5 weeks. I don't know how to cram a whole bunch of information into one session. Anyway, it just was frustrating for me. Okay. Yeah, I love coaching, and I think I'll always do crisis work with teenagers or with any traumatized or abused children or situations because not many people do it. And it's my specialty, especially teen crisis work. And I think I'll probably always do that. Yeah. Anyway, because I really do love coaching. It's my favorite thing to do in my business. Can you repeat your podcast? Repeat your podcast. It's BratBusters Parenting Podcast. It's all in the link above. Everything is in my website. If you go on my website, you'll see everything. It's literally just courses, coaching, live Q&As, because I do 2 of these that are regularly scheduled a week, and then podcast. Everything's on there. And then also you can go down. It says unlock your BratBusters behavior board. So that you just go down a little bit. Then there's testimonials. Then there's a picture of me. I don't know, courses. And then there's a picture of my daughter and I. So, because she does the podcast with me. How is that? I'm doing a parenting business and my partner is my daughter. That happened organically. We did not see that coming. She was already doing stuff behind the scenes part-time and she had a full-time job. And when she came on board, everything exploded. She's very good at this stuff. So yeah, and then we realized that, so she came on full-time. But yeah, it all happened organically. She was just doing me a favor by setting me up on Instagram and that. And I was already on TikTok, but yeah. So it just happened organically. And now we're working together full-time. How lucky, eh? And then she makes her own hours. I make my own hours. It's great. I don't like to just take away his toy until he answers you. What? What are you talking about? Answers you? I have no idea what you're talking about. Oh, no, I do answer a lot of questions and I don't avoid anything that I don't want to answer. Like what I mean is I just have to mix it all up. An ASD, autism spectrum disorder, I only discuss in coaching because it's a specialty. Okay. And they're all so different. I can't generalize. So it's only in coaching. And I can't possibly answer all the questions that come up in these lives. So, but I mix them up too. I get a lot of toddler questions on these lives. So if I see a teenage one, I just about drool. I dive on it. That's my specialty is teenagers. And also, I always say this too. There's a lot of I don't know who else is out there. I'm very careful about that. I have never looked at another coach or anything parenting related. I only teach from my own experience. But I would say this, that I'm sure there's a lot of information out there. And I know there's a lot of misguided information out there because I have to fix it when people come to me for coaching and they'll tell me, I say, don't tell me who, but where did you pick up that from? And they'll say, oh, well, I hired someone else first. So anyway, if you're going to listen to someone take parenting advice, I know it can be very confusing out there, but I would say there's 2 criteria. There's no way I would take parenting advice from someone without these 2 criteria. They have to have finished the job with their own kids. Have they lived with teenagers? Are they now are functioning adults? Come on, you can't teach parenting unless you know how to get into those teen years properly. Because a lot of what works with young children backfires in the teen years if you don't know what you're doing. Okay, so that's one. They have to have finished the job with their own kids. The second one is they have to have had experience with hundreds of other kids. Because I didn't learn much with my own kids. I got respect when they were tiny and then sailed right through the teen years. I mean, there was a lot of stuff in there, but you know what I mean. So yeah, it's all the other kids I worked with, all the troubled teens, the disabled children, the kids with lots of challenges, the kids who came from trauma, or just generally a lot of kids with ADHD. It just seemed like every kid I worked with had ADHD. It was unbelievable. I started to question, are they really properly diagnosed? There was so many kids with ADHD. It was unbelievable. It just gets accelerated over the years too. Anyway, so yeah, those are the two criteria. Tons of hands-on experience with all ages. Because if you don't understand all ages, how can you teach any age? It doesn't make any sense at all to me. Because you have to build the base to get into those other ages, right? Oh, it's frustrating for me because I hear what's being taught out there. I don't know who's teaching it. That's why I'm not insulting anyone personally. I wouldn't do that. But yeah, be careful where you take advice from. Taking advice from someone who hasn't finished the job would be like taking financial advice from someone with $10 in the bank. They don't know yet. They don't know what's coming yet. So yeah, it just frustrates me because I know it's probably well meant, but it's just yeah. Would the bedtime battles course not be useful for me as my child has ASD, autism spectrum disorder? I don't know. How high functioning are they? Like some children wouldn't work for and others it would. You can give it a go. It might work. It's just one of my mini courses. It might work. I don't know. And there's no guarantee with any of this. We're dealing with human beings here. There's no guarantee with any of this. We're just working with percentages and likelihoods and, pretty good odds here, I would say. But sometimes nothing works with some kids with autism spectrum disorder, unless I've really researched it in coaching and found out everything that did work and everything that didn't work in the past. And then we build on that. I won't tell you how I worked with kids with autism because it might not work with your kids. They're all so different. High functioning. If high functioning, then yes, the bedtime battles course has a much better chance of working. Much better. Autism and ADHD and all this. I don't know if it's happening more or if we're overdiagnosing or if we're just getting better at diagnosing. I don't know, but my goodness, every kid seems to have something going on these days. I don't treat children with ADHD any different. That's where I learned all this, was all those kids that I worked with. I don't treat them any different, but autism, yes, I do. Often, yeah. Overdiagnosing. Yeah, that's a broad statement. I'm not confident enough to say that that's true or not. I don't know because I don't know. I don't tend to say anything I'm not really sure about. Have an opinion on, I mean. So it could be I overdiagnosed. You know what is overdiagnosed? I'm pretty confident about this, is the word narcissist. How many people say their ex is a narcissist and how many true narcissists are out there? A lot of people have narcissistic tendencies, but that's different. I'm 63. I'll be 64 very soon. So in my 64 years, I've only met one true narcissist, and it was next level. And you would never know it when you met this person. They're the most charming people in the world. That's why I avoid charming people like the plague. If anyone says, oh, you should meet this person, they're so charming, I'm like, no, thank you. Charm covers up a lot. I like real people. Like, what's with charm? Why do you need charm if you're a good person? Charm is something that people put on. They're those real charming. That charming? Oh, aren't you lovely? And oh, God, puke. No, thanks. Okay, you should meet my sister. ASD diagnoses come from pediatricians. That's true. I won't say anymore, but yeah, of course it does. Yeah, I'm not going to say anymore. I would never, ever go against anyone. And I don't have any opinion on that either, to be honest. But is your 3+ course specific to the kid, or is it pre-recorded generalized? Well, I have 2 boot camp courses. They're the bigger courses. And the 3 to 12-year-old one, it's a 5-week process. It's all about you and how to be a leader. So it's all focused on you. Does that help at all? And it's generalized, but there's a lot of other stuff in there that parents have asked. I've been doing this for almost 20 years. So I kind of know what the common things are that parents struggle with or ask about, or the exceptions. So there's a lot in there. I can't possibly put everything in there, but there's a lot in there. And people are saying they're getting really good results from it. But it's like anything. It's not going to work for everybody probably, but it's all focused on you. Yeah, but it's a 5-week process, how to set yourself up as a leader. Okay, you're still asking about autism, and I'm just hesitate to say it. A lot of my clients have bought my courses and they have autistic children and they've had success with them. I'm sure there's exceptions to that also, though. It's not nothing's perfect. We're dealing with human beings here. And I'm very sensitive to kids with special needs because I've worked with so many of them. I know that how unique they are and how sometimes you can get through to them and other times what works with one kid doesn't work with another. So that's why. And even when I'm working with parents who have autistic children or children with special needs, I always say, do they have play therapists and other, and they always do. They always have other people that they're working with them that have degrees in how you work with kids with autism. But I teach the parent-child relationship. So, yeah. But I'm very careful with all that stuff. We're working with human beings. And sometimes there's a lot of with especially children with special needs, we throw mud at the wall and see what sticks, basically. So it's a lot of trial and error. Even neurotypical kids are all different and some courses won't work. Yeah, it's like anything in life, right? And coaching is where all that comes up. That's where, if the general information isn't working, coaching is where I deal with I deal with a lot of just stuff that isn't outside the norm, but there's a lot of stuff that comes up in coaching, stuff that that's where coaching comes in. So, and yeah, sometimes parents are embarrassed. I had a client recently and I couldn't believe this. They didn't tell me something really important till like the 3rd or 4th session because they were embarrassed. If you've been watching me for a while, don't waste your time being embarrassed in front of me. We'll just laugh it off and move on. Come on, you were embarrassed about that? You know how many times I've heard that? So it's very rare that I'll hear something that I haven't heard 1,000 times before. So yeah, they waited because they were embarrassed. And I was like, come on, like, don't waste, if you're going to hire me for coaching, don't waste your money by being embarrassed. Don't hold back. Just tell me what's going on. Yeah, you're not the only ones. It's very rare that I'll come up against something I've never heard before. It's very rare. But even then, why would I judge? I'm here to help you. So it doesn't make any sense. Okay. Time is, I got to get going. Thanks so much for watching the live. I always appreciate it. You can check out the podcast. It's brand new. It's been out for 6 days. We've already dropped 3 episodes in the first week, in the first Tuesday, and then every Tuesday will be 1 new episode. My daughter and I are filming this together. If you want to see it, if you want to take a look watch it instead, I'm more of a video person. It's on YouTube. So just go to my website. It's in the link above, and you can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp courses. You can look into coaching, or you can listen to the podcast directly on my website. It's also on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, everywhere. So it's called BratBusters Parenting Podcast, and it is exceeding what we expected. It's getting really good feedback and views. So we're very happy about it. And anyway, thanks so much for joining me. And we'll talk again soon. Tomorrow is our regularly scheduled live at 4:30 Pacific time, which is my time. Happy parenting. Bye now.